Vortex, are you calling up? I want to talk to Vortex. I'm trying to give you the time, brother. What's up? Who's calling?
Yeah, this is Savannah.
I'm going to have you call back, brother. I'm trying to get Vortex. Come on, man. Y'all got to... Shout out to Jamal. What's up, Kundalini? Talib. Shout out to Talib. And don't forget, man, we're having the free backpack giveaway. That's happening on August 12th and August 13th in Atlanta. August 12th here in LA at Shades of Africa in Long Beach. August 12th in Chicago at the Culture Connection. And August 13th at the Nubian Bookstore in Atlanta. Come on down, bring your kids. Get your kid a free backpack. Brand new. This ain't no used shit. Brand new free backpack. All right? Now, I was waiting on Vortex to call in or to chime in. I wanted him to call up. Yes, August 12th and August 13th. You know what? I learned a little bit about chess, but I got to really get into it. I really got to learn chess. But I definitely got to get down to New Orleans. I definitely got to get to New Orleans. Man. What's up, Jack Solo? You said alt-right Andy is dissing me? When did he diss me? He already talked shit last week, so. What's my thoughts on who? Yada? Who is that? Okay, I was waiting on Vortex, but all right. What's up? Who's calling?
This is Lex Vortex, Vortex Media Ministry.
There you go. That's Vortex. So what's on your mind, Vortex?
Hey man, I've been running a long campaign. And I'm glad I got to talk to you because, you know, I believe that you'll at least be able to hear what I'm saying and understand the psychology. I know a lot of people use the term racism, white supremacy. It stems a lot from Dr. Francis Cress Welsing's work and all of that. But we must understand, in order for a system to exist called racism, white supremacy, there has to be some supreme white people. And psychologically, you know, the mind is programmed through repetition. So the very fact that we acknowledge something called white supremacy is kind of like a subliminal form of co-signing it.
Okay.
Now, I know there's a system, you know, we know about racism and all that, but you know, y'all need to rename it. Call it white survival mechanism or something. But when you say white supremacy, if you give life to it, you are saying that you are supreme because there can be no white supremacy unless there are supreme white people.
Okay, now let me touch on that because our sister Dr. Welsing touched on that and Neely Fuller talked about that. See, the thing is with black people, we have a habit of not wanting to accept the truth. So we try to water stuff down to make it sound better so we can deal with it. And that's why the white supremacists, they win. Because they know when they are losing, and they will say that they're losing and immediately do something about it. What we do as black folks, we start saying, they ain't supreme over me. I got immunity because I'm a Kundalini expert and I got sovereignty. So you're just sitting up chilling in your own psychological world while you're still subjugated by the system of white supremacy. And Dr. Welsing said supreme means I can kill you with impunity and you can't kill me with impunity. That's really what supreme means. It doesn't mean smarter, doesn't mean stronger. That means I'm in a position to kill you, ultimately, if I feel like it, and you can't do anything about it. That's what supreme is. And they are in a supreme position over us. We got to stop playing and coming up with ways to kind of minimize that blow so it don't feel so bad. and come up with ways to combat that. Because once you start admitting, it's like war. When you are in a war, you better be very clear when you're behind enemy lines. This is why we get shot all the time. Because we get around these race soldiers and we start talking about, man, I know my rights. You ain't supposed to be talking to me like that. Then they blow our fucking brains out. And the people who blew our brains out are walking around free right now. We got to stop playing with that thing and understand in war, you better be very honest when you are a prisoner of war and say, hey, look, I'm in a situation where I'm subjugated by you. When you start talking like that, surprisingly, the white supremacists get scared. When you start acknowledging that, hey, wait a minute, I am in an inferior position. You do reign supreme over me. When you start talking like that, that's when they go on alert. They love niggas running around talking about, man, fuck these crackers. These crackers ain't shit, man. Ain't nobody supreme over me. They love that shit. They love that. They love it. But when you start saying,
that's not...
I ain't saying that's you. I'm not saying that's you. I'm just giving an example.
Okay, yeah.
Right. But they love when we start talking about ain't no white supremacy. They love that. And they'll do, come on, dude. Ain't no white supremacy. Wink, wink, wink. They wink at each other because they know the system that they've created. White supremacy is a system. Again, it ain't about them being stronger, faster, smarter. It's about them having a code, and that's their strength. That's what we got to understand. Their strength is in a code. They have a code of conduct, and that code of conduct puts them in a supreme position over us because we're subject to these people who are on code. Once we acknowledge that, we get on code, then we can overcome their codes. You got it?
I got you. I do disagree in some ways because I understand. I do agree with you in terms of facing reality.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's some black people who try to act like, well, we just the super humans from Egypt, and so just, deny the reality. But even if you look at white supremacy, in order for them to put it forth, they had to run the psychological game. So they ran, like you was talking earlier, what you was just reading, they ran the campaigns of black inferiority, black skin being cursed, white people being, and they...
Vortex, let's hold on, let me stop you 1 minute. Let's just talk in a practical sense. Point to any area on this planet where white supremacy does not dominate. Let's just start there. Let's just say, where do they not dominate black people anywhere in any activity? Point to it.
In China.
The Chinese are completely subjugated to the white supremacists because their economy is contingent upon the Western's economy. You send a white person over to China, they'll worship a damn white person in China. There was a saying back in the day that you don't have a Chinaman's chance in hell. They allow the Chinese to live and do whatever they want to do. They allow, the key word is allow. They can shut down China anytime they feel like it. They allow. China is subject to them. They allow China to do certain things. They allow certain groups to come in and do certain things. They allow the East Indians to own certain things. They allow the Arabs, you know what I'm saying? For example, the Arabs. A lot of the Arabs were like, well, if I can come over here and work and I can earn, how come you blacks can't? Because the white supremacists allow, when they say, okay, look, we need these people we need to mine their oil and we need to have a good relationship with them while we get their oil and subjugate them in subtle ways. People think that they're equal until they start smacking them down. Just like with Gaddafi. Gaddafi was the big wig over there, and they immediately smacked him down and killed him. So they can go over there and start smack. Like my man over there, Kim Jong-il, whatever his name is, they about to get him any damn day now. So over there in Asia and China, they allow them. The key word is allow. That's why the Chinese had to come over here and work these damn railroads and get their weight up. So the Chinese, they are allowed by the white supremacists. Don't let them think that China and America are somehow equal. The Chinese economy is contingent upon the Western economy.
Well, brother, you got some things a little off there because actually a lot of the Chinese own a lot of American debt. So one reason why America does respect China is because China has bought a lot of American debt, just like the Arabs own 12% of the American debt. So it's actually these countries that are actually one of the reasons why these countries respect America and why they don't just go all out and try to destroy them is because America has what's called soft power, meaning that a lot of these countries have invested so much in this cash cow that they're actually keeping the cash cow going. But before you went to that, I was trying to make a point about the psychological warfare.
But let me get on that. But let me say that. But the American military is stronger than China. Again, the American military is much stronger than China, right?
Yeah. American military is the strongest on the earth. But I was really trying to get to the psychology.
That's what I'm saying. And there you go. Whoever has the strongest military will have. They got the strongest empire. Okay, understand that.
I agree.
Right.
I agree with I agree with you on term,
understand that.
What I was talking about with saying the words, I'm talking about the psychological implications, not denying the reality.
That's what we got to deal with. Reality. We got to deal with reality, man.
But look at a lot of the things that keep their system going is because of black people subconsciously really feeling inferior. For instance, you know, it doesn't help white supremacy that we spend $10 billion on hair or $10 billion at Christmas, or that we don't love each other the way we do. So what I'm saying is they ran a psychological campaign. And so if you want to overcome white supremacy, the first thing you have to do is overcome the psychology that's been embedded in us. And I'm just saying, when we're talking to people who are subconsciously programmed to believe they're inferior and white people are already superior,
okay,
you emphasize.
Okay, hold on, wait. Let's get to the point. Hold on, Vortex. All right, let's call it the system of ice cream sandwiches. All right, that's what it is now. It's the system of ice cream sandwiches. It sounds delicious and tasty. So now, what do black people do to stop being under the system of ice cream sandwiches? How do we stop being gentrified in the system of ice cream sandwiches? How do we stop being funneled into inferior schools in the system of ice cream sandwiches? How do we get out of mass incarceration in the system of ice cream sandwiches? Because now the name is delicious and tasty. It sounds great now, but we're still subjugated to this shit. So what do we do to get up under the subjugation of the system of ice cream sandwiches?
What happens is, once we take away the fear, because when you say white supremacy and stuff, like, you take away the fear. So a lot of the things we're doing, we even though we're saying that we want to go against it, we are psychologically contributing to it because of the psychology we have, which is the subliminal level, right? So once we stop saying words that, you know, keep telling
it's the system of ice cream sandwiches. It's the system of ice cream sandwiches now. So we're all going to start calling it the system of ice cream sandwiches. So if all of us start calling it the system of ice cream sandwiches, now what's step 2? How do we get out from under being subjugated, being shot down in the streets by the system of ice cream sandwiches cops? How do we get out of the system of white ice cream sandwiches jails? How do we get out of the system of ice cream sandwiches media that demonizes black people? What do we do after we've changed the name?
Well, after you change the name, the psychology will begin to change.
Okay.
So now so once the psychology begins to change, the actions will begin to change.
And what are the actions going to be? What are the actions going to be?
So the action is going to be more organizing. Instead of spending $10 billion on Christmas, maybe we start that black bank that everyone's talking about.
Okay, we're going to organize, get a black bank, and then what we're going to do, because the system of ice cream sandwiches, they're still killing us, the system of ice cream sandwiches. So
right. So instead of, being passive and very aggressive verbally, next time a black person gets shot, maybe we get quiet and start thinking, and maybe we develop an organization to really deal with that, or in a real way, kind of like the Jews developed the ADL, and then we start, collaborating and getting political power where we can have some type of force to make people pay for what they do instead of just talking about it. See, what I'm saying is there's a psychology that's causing us to act backwards.
Okay, brother. Brother, you've used the term psychology 20 times, brother. Okay, I got it. Because I try to get into the practicality of it. All right, but I got to get some of these other folks, Vortex. Thank you.
All right, brother. Thanks for
the call, brother. Okay. Vortex was going to talk in circles all night. That's a prison mentality. Shout out to Vortex. No disrespect to you, Vortex, but I'm trying to save time. That's that prison mentality. That's what prisoners do. They sit in jail and just talk on and on about how they ain't supposed to be in jail. Where what happened is it's the psychology, the psychological ramifications of the improprieties of the ineptitude. Now we doing the prison word game. See, I don't like to call it white supremacy, my brother. I like to call it a white survivalist mechanism because psychologically, black folks don't need to be subjected to that type of verbalism, brother, because those verbalisms manifest in the pineal gland, and then it will get into your melanocytes, and then it will seep through the pores of your skin, brother. And what happens is that you will have to use SP12 cream on your skin to re-neutralize your pineal gland, my brother. So this is why we have to be very psychological about how we use these words out here, because these words have a psychological effect on koala bears in Australia. Because see, the koalas in Australia, they would eat seeds and they would psychologically lie to themselves and say that they were kangaroos. But once they ate the seeds, they got the Kundalini spirit, and psychologically they became subjugated to the white supremacists and they were put into the zoo. Okay, brother. Okay. All right. All right. All right, Vortex. All right. So, all right, Vortex, we call it something else. What do we do? What do we do now once we call it something else? See, once we call it something else, see, what we can do, brother, psychologically, then we can start getting black banks, and then we can get those koala bears to act as bank tellers, brother. And when we get the koala bears to act as bank tellers, psychologically, that's going to get us back in tune with the animals, brother, and that's going to open up our root chakras. And once we open up those chakras, then we can get the koala bears and we can cohabitate just like we did in the motherland, brother. And we ain't talking that white supremacy talk no more, because it's going to be all about koala supremacy, brother, because actually we come from the nuclei of the koalas, brother. We have human and have koalas. The white man don't tell you that, brother. This is why we get beards and mustaches, brother. That's koala energy, brother. I'm telling you, this is what the white man, next time, you know, put me in Hidden Colors. I can explain about the koala bears. It's a Hidden Colors audition. God, brother. All right, brother. All right, Vortex. All right. Man. Okay. Man.